I'm still like, anyway. So before I ended up with that doctor, way before that, one of the worst days that I had, I was running around my dad's house, and um, is in Yakima. I'm running around his house, and I'm I'm scared. Now, I ended up using acid a couple weeks before that, and I don't know if it messed with my brain chemistry really bad, but I mean, I was hallucinating pretty hardcore, and I really wasn't on any drugs that day, but I heard all these voices. They were telling me they were gonna kill me and roll me up in my dad's red carpet that he had, because we had wood floors, um, and then they were gonna get rid of the body. But I mean, I was scared. I'm running around. I'm like, Dad, we gotta lock all the doors, and so I'm like locking all the doors and shutting all the windows, and he's just trying to be calm. He's like, son, calm down. I'm here. Why don't you just get your sleeping bag and just lay it right down next to my bed? You're gonna be all right, you know. And he had to go to sleep. He had to get up for work next day. He was a workaholic, which was really cool. It's like a dad mom. At that point, he had not found somebody to share his life with and be cahoots against the world. But that night, um, I was 20 years old, and I lost it. I lost it, and it was 2 weeks of hearing these like voices that were telling me they were gonna kill me, and I was a piece of shit, and all this kind of stuff, and I couldn't not listen anymore. I couldn't. I lost. I mean, I lost my mind, dude. The street drugs had pushed me, and who knows? You don't really know. There's no quality control on street drugs. Nothing. Who knows? I could have been using rat poison coke, or maybe it was just rat poison. Or maybe I really was fucked up from the drugs because it really wasn't drugs. It was poison. I don't know. I'm sure these guys are stomping their dope, but anyways, back over to the story. I lost my mind. I did absolutely run around the house crazy, and then I just heard this one voice that just got it for me. I didn't listen to the voice. I heard the voice, and I realized it was a good idea. And the voice was get off the planet. So I proceeded to get off the planet, and I got in my 1975 Toyota pickup, two-wheel drive. It was white. Had these really nice tires on it, man. I'm really sad because those tires were new. They were like those unflattable tires. Like you couldn't make the tires go flat. They're the best tires in the world, and I don't know. I definitely regret not having that truck with those tires. I lose this truck this evening. Believe that. So and this is like the worst night that ever happened, as far as the street drugs go, because anyway, my dad was sleeping and I snuck into his room and I grabbed his Benadryl. He had a bottle of Benadryl, and it didn't have any of that shit in it that makes you puke when you take too much of it, and it was my plan B. So I put that in my pocket. I went. I got in my truck. I drove down to 24th and Nob Hill, in Yakima, Washington, a Tiger Mart, which I used to work at, but I didn't work there at that moment. I don't even think I had a job. But I went in there to go buy a pack of cigarettes because I figured I needed cigarettes because I was getting off the planet. And I jumped back in my truck and I started driving to the mountains. An excerpt out of my life that I'll talk about at another time is I remember being arrested one day, and I'm yelling at the cops, and I'm just being a dumbass, and I'm just calling them names. I'm talking all kind of shit in the back of their cop car, and I just got to this point where I was like really frustrated and arrested again. I'm like fuck it, I don't want to live anymore. And he's just like, the cop just like looks at me a little bit, and he's like, dude, when you get out, Just go where there's no people. Go to the mountains or something. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to paraphrase. I don't know exactly what he said, but he referred to just go where there's nobody around and take care of it. That's what you want. Filed that away. So I knew I had to get away from people because they might stop me. And I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I was headed to the mountains. And my first plan was just going to the woods somewhere. I don't know if my plan was starve or whatever, but just get away from everybody. And that's what I did. I was planning that. I guess I chose the road where my family used to own a cabin across from Whistling Jack's. I just kept driving to the top of that mountain. And all the way there, I'm just like, I'd pull off the road. I started throwing stuff out of my truck. I remember I had a CB radio. I tossed it out the window. Whatever I owned, my tools, I threw them out the window. I just, whatever I had, I was just throwing it out the window. I had like a little, I had a sunroof, and it was made out of glass, but I could pop it out, and then it could just be a hole there, and I would do that. I tossed it out the window and it exploded. Everything in my truck, I was just throwing it out. Then I got to the point where I had a truck box. I took the truck box and I threw it off. I had to unscrew it, and I took the truck box off. But I was making that truck as light as I possibly could, because I had an idea when I was going up there. I wasn't going to need the Benadryl. I chucked it out the window. I didn't need it anymore. I found a cliff, like a really big cliff, and I thought that would solve all my problems. And this is like so weird to talk about. I found this cliff. God, if you took a rock on it, you took a rock and you throw it off this cliff, top of that mountain, I don't even think I heard it hit the bottom. So I had this thing. My little 75 Toyota truck was slow. I mean, it had a 22RE or 21RE engine. And Weber carb. I knew that carb inside and out. I could not make my truck go faster than 70 miles an hour. That was as fast as it would go. It had a 4-speed. There was an overdrive, but it didn't help. So 70 miles an hour is what I had to achieve. But 75 miles an hour in that truck, if I hit the right spot on some roads, I could jump. I know this because I was jumping that truck and I broke the motor mounts and had one bolt sticking on it one day. And my dad's like, "What have you been doing to this truck?" And he like tightened the bolt down and he helped me and fixed my trailer. I'm like, "Oh," but I've really been jumping it because it was fun. That was the funnest thing. I used to destroy cars. But anyway, back over to this. I'm about to destroy this car. Back over to this thing. I thought this was a great idea. I needed to die because I didn't have any other solution to my problems. I mean, now when I look back on it, I think it's stupid because, you should hold out for hope, but then I didn't know there was a better life. I had no idea. I had none. But this was how I was going to solve my problem. So I emptied everything out of the truck. I backed it up as far as I needed to go. I don't know, probably a couple blocks worth. A few blocks worth, I think. So I could get it up to 70 miles an hour. And the last thing I really had was my grandfather's glasses that I had taken, these round silver glasses. and put my prescription inside of them so I could wear them around. I really liked them, but I didn't want to see the cliff. I had negative 5 eyes at the time. I mean, everything's blurry once I don't have those on. So I was right there. I get going. I'm aimed at the cliff. I'm starting to do. I'm up to about 70 miles an hour, and I take my glasses and I just throw them out the window because I don't want to see what I'm about to do. And I heard that rev, right when all your wheels are off the ground. You get this rev because now there's no friction on the rear at all. And it was a split second, and I hit this boulder. I hadn't even seen this boulder. I must have deviated from my path somehow, a little bit, but there was a rock, a big fucking rock, and that rock did not move because it's part of the mountain. It didn't budge an inch, but I did, and I wasn't wearing my seatbelt. So at 70 miles an hour, I crack my head on the steering wheel so hard I pissed myself. I mean, I hit my head. You see, this is what's remaining of the scar. Some of my eyebrows grown back over it, but there was like 8 or 10 stitches right there. It was a pressure cut from the steering wheel because I slammed into it. Hold on, there's a customer.